Today's event is actually centered on groundwater abstraction and drilling practice in Lagos State. Most importantly, the regulation that guides the abstraction and drilling in a sedimentary state like Lagos State. It has become so necessary to do this. And when I say do this, I mean to engage stakeholders on the need to understand what the regulations are and also water stewardship on the part of the private sector. So the meeting has largely focused on private sector players and the drilling family. Involving all the stakeholders is just to bring everybody to the same page and understand why we need to do what we need to do. Outside of that, what we then did was to also bring into that space academia. We actually have Professor Idowu from UNAB, we had Professor Akendi from UI, we had Professor Akotenyo from LASU, we had Dr. Oteri, and these are all people with very deep knowledge of hydrology and hydrogeology. So we're looking at the impacts, the negative impacts of over-extraction for knowledge, and to understand that when government calls on the players in that industry, they know exactly that there's need for collaboration, there's need for dialogue, and there's need for us to ensure that over and above everything, environmental sustainability is keenly guarded.
Well, what our expectation is for them to buy into the regulation time. This is time in which in drilling, borehole drilling, regulation plays a key role, in ensuring that our groundwater is sustainably managed and protected. So with what has happened today and with the lectures that have been delivered, I know that will have sink in the understanding of the fact that groundwater plays important role in water supply, and its sustainability depends on us, embracing regulation, as a key point.
We both have a responsibility. The responsibility of the Commission is to regulate water and wastewater activities in both the public and private sector of the state. And in doing that, we are backed up by the Lagos State Environmental Management Protection Law of 2017 and also the various regulatory techniques that the Commission has put in place to be able to ensure that the law is widely circulated and the guidelines are also widely circulated so that everybody knows what is expected, their obligations and their responsibilities.
Groundwater as a rare resource. It is such an important resource for the state. It's such an important resource for the state that we need to make sure that we manage it in a sustainable manner. Right now, the rate at which we are abstracting, I am not sure it is sustainable. I await further studies to be sure that we can back whatever we are saying with data. But just off the cuff, I can tell you that if we continue at this rate, we are sure that the disaster awaits us if we don't curb it. That we should not treat groundwater abstraction as a means of revenue generation. However, it does not mean we will just allow people to abstract without limit. We will cap it, but at the same time, we will find an optimal way to ensure that you pay for what you're abstracting, but at the same time, you do not abstract. It is not an unlimited resource that will just keep abstracting. So there's a way we will look at it. So we must make sure that we preserve it for. That's the essence of sustainability anyway. You have to make sure that you preserve it for the next generation.
Sensitizing the stakeholders and making people to see that the regulation is not meant to be punitive, but rather to bring in best practices into the water sector. For instance, if people don't know, they won't be able to follow suit. But making them to know what will be the consequences of an unregulated sphere will make people to adhere to whatever regulation that is coming. Of course, you can see these regulations, as I said, were not made in vacuum. They were made based on some empirical data, and it will be easy to persuade people to comply. And I'm excited with the quality of people that are here. The major water users are here. the drillers are here, professionals are all around. So that means that the right set of people that needs to be spoken to have been invited. So of course, if these people have the buy-in in this regulation, it will be very easy to eventually effectively implement those regulations.
Any word for LASWARCO?
Yeah, of course, they should still keep doing what they are doing well. They are doing well from now, and we are happy to. You can see the quantum of people they have brought from all over. This water is a multidisciplinary sector, so they have brought in people from all the various subsector to come and talk. People in the civil society, people in the academia, people in the drilling profession, and the rest. That is the way to go. So as long as you continue to work that way, the agency will continue to do very well.
It's possible for regulations that are put in place to be effective, for compliance to be effective, for the benefit of all. The Commission has to put a lot of things in place in order to be able to ensure that the guidelines are effective. You know, it's not enough only to put guidelines in place, but they must be ensured that they are effective so as to meet the purpose for which they were put in place. And one of the ways is this kind of forum that they have been organized. And then the need to make the people understand that it is their own, for their own benefits. You know, the regulations and the policies are for their own benefit and not necessarily for the purpose of generating money out by the government and
stakeholders engagement meeting. If you look at what happened here today, it has never happened before in Lagos State, where the private sector that use water as their raw materials came all here to really listen to how we can improve when it comes to water stewardship. We also had here today the CSOs, we have people from the government agencies, we have the academia dealing with several issues. And one important thing that happened here today was that the private sector on their own, they have now understood the benefits of water stewardship, the impact it will have if they don't do the right thing. The cost of inaction, like I said, in Africa is about 200 billion naira a year, and Nigeria actually has a chunk of that. And when you say no Nigeria, Lagos State in particular. So coming together to have this kind of discussion was very, very critical, and it's still very, very critical.
LASWARCO and Lagos State government in general takes stakeholder engagement seriously, because if you do not get the buy-in of citizens, the real owners of the land, into your policies and strategies, then you're not going to be very successful at the end of the day. So it's heartening that LASWARCO is holding this series of stakeholder engagements, but it needs to be deepened. We need to bring in more players, particularly the majority of citizens that are at the grassroots, the market women, the youth groups, the players that may not have the usual access to government that maybe private sector has or civil society organizations have. There are various groups that are kind of outside the normal circle of stakeholders. That, you know, CSOs that are well known will always be part of any engagement, but it's important to go down to the grassroots. I have recommended that these stakeholder meetings should be organized in every local government.
One of the very key things for me, an outcome from this meeting, which I hold very dearly, is the power of collaboration. Because the truth about it is, yes, there are a plethora of challenges, but Lagos particularly is making a lot of achievements and steps in the very, very right direction. The truth about it is the merrier the better, as it said, but also collaboration is key with all stakeholders, and I think that's a very good step that we have taken, that Lagos LASWARCO has taken today.
All they are telling us, they are what we have known commonly to us as professionals, but at the same time, there are a lot of statistical data and information that you can't know everything. So there are information I pick from one or two things, and it's going to help our generation. This generation has issues. We have problem of water. Water is life. The knowledge we are getting now, the information that we need to pass across to people, and the regulation that's supposed for is very critical and it's important. Those are my take home. There's a need to put sense, to put wisdom together. There are ways that we're going to navigate, but this now is going to be between us and the management. We're going to marshal it. That when you want people to know that you are helping them, they will see the genuineness of purpose, and then they will. And I trust Lagosians. They want good things. Nigerians want good things for themselves, starting from Lagos.